Welcome to episode 3 of the JBFH podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the Uncharted franchise and what we expect from the Lost Legacy, seeing as that is coming out very soon as of this recording. So, I think we should just dive straight into it, because...
Yeah, let's start off with the first one.
Drake's Fortune. Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I think that gets a bad rap, to be honest. Only because every time I hear somebody talk about it, they always say how it doesn't hold up, like how much of it doesn't really hold up anymore about the time. It's like, I don't think the gameplay is that bad. It doesn't hold up, I will admit, but
I mean,
it's
I
not a bad
the
game.
Gameplay was probably still a work in progress in terms of when you get to the second one, it's improved.
Yeah, it was almost like a demo, but I think it's harsh to call it a demo for the Uncharted franchise, but it sort of was.
I enjoyed it overall. I come from a different perspective as you, where I didn't play them till quite late, and that one felt more dated than when I went into the second and the third.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because you played it after.
I played it just before the fourth one came out. I played them all like that.
Yeah. Well, I played them as they came out.
Yeah.
So when I have fond memories of playing the first game, I played it like 3 times all the way through before 2 even came out.
Yeah.
And
so I mean,
for the time though, that when it came out, I can remember thinking this is like amazing. I've never seen a fucking game like this before. Like in terms of how it looked, and just the graphics were like amazing. But Naughty Dog always make the best looking games though.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, I think people do tend to like kind of harp on about how like dated it is now, but I think they don't focus enough on the actual positive things.
Yeah, because I mean, in terms of the story, is quite good.
Yeah.
Usually are in Naughty Dog. Well, if you go from like the Jack games forward, the stories are usually quite good on their games anyway. But yeah, like I said, I played them quite late, so to me it did feel a little bit dated, but I did enjoy it overall. I played it all the way through.
Yeah, I still like, even now, like I think when you...
I've never gone back and played that one again though. I played it once, I played the second one again and the third one.
I played it again
the fourth
fairly recently. I played it all the way through again when I suppose it wasn't that recently, but when the PS3 trilogy came out on PS4.
Yeah. Like
remastered, and I played that whole thing, and I remember I did have some issues with it, to be fair, but I don't think it's still not a bad game, even by today's standards. There are worse games that come out now with worse controls than that game has.
Yeah.
But I do think, but in terms of the story as well, I suppose it is pretty standard.
I found myself, I enjoyed the story.
Yeah, but it's pretty standard, kind of by the numbers. You don't really get a lot of like character backstory and stuff. It's pretty much Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like action adventure game, whereas in 2 and especially in 3 and 4, but we'll get to the 4.
Yeah.
There's a lot more character. It actually becomes more about the characters than it does about the adventure, especially in, like I said, especially in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
2, I suppose you could argue, was kind of similar to 1. I mean, there isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I was trying to think of what like a standout moment there was in that game, because
when in 1.
Yeah.
Well, you mean like a set piece?
Yeah.
Because these games are known for those set pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head,
I quite like the. I thought it was quite scary when you're being chased.
Well, we should say, by the way, this is spoilers. I mean, it'd be in the title of the video anyway, but just to make sure. I mean, everybody's played these games by now. Yeah. If you're listening to this, you've probably played the games.
Yeah. I feel like when Lost Legacy comes out, it's probably going to be a game where you probably benefit from playing the other ones first.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, although I don't know if they... I mean, there's going to be, like, as far as we know, there's going to be no Drake or anything in that one.
No, but I mean, there are both characters you would have already seen. So...
But getting back to Drake's Fortune, what you were saying about the... I'm assuming we were talking about the, like... zombie things, like 3/4 into the game.
Yeah.
I always thought that was really cool. I always just shit myself.
That was.
Yeah, I still do. I played it more recently, and it still fucking scares me.
Because I can think of a spectacle in all the other games. So I can't think that.
I suppose that is sort of that twist. I mean, I know there's like a twist in the majority of them anyway. But that twist, like, it was completely unexpected for me. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So there's not really a set piece in that game.
Yeah.
Because technically, I suppose, I like to think of it as like the twist is it replaces the set piece, even though there's a twist in all of them. But.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
I think that game, it's underrated. I understand people's problems with it now.
Yeah.
But I think if you can take into account like when it came out, then
yeah, you always got to think about that with older games.
Yeah, I think now
there's a lot of good older games which if you tried to play now, you probably couldn't get through just because how it looks and how it plays. So yeah, I think overall it's a really good game.
Yeah, no, it is good. But I think
it's probably out of all of them would be my least favourite. But then again, like I said, I played it later on, and
it's definitely the worst one. I use air quotes for that, like, because it's not a bad game.
It's not a bad game, no.
It's not as good as the others, and that happens with most games. Though I think when the first one comes out, is usually kind of if it's a new thing, it's usually like a test, and the next one's usually the better one, is the more superior thing, which is kind of the opposite with films.
Yeah,
which is strange.
Sequels are never usually as good.
But I don't think there's really much more to say about one. There was no multiplayer or anything either, was there? For that, I don't think there was.
No, not with that one. I think the multiplayer came with the second one.
Yeah, and then I never really played that though.
I didn't really care about the multiplayer. It's not a game that needs multiplayer.
No,
I can see probably why they did it, but it wasn't needed.
But my favourite this is potentially my favourite of the franchise, but I don't know. I haven't really decided. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves.
Yeah, that is my favourite.
That game, when that came out, I remember when the trailer for that game came out, and it was like, when he was like on that train.
Yeah.
But it was hanging off the cliff, and you don't know that it's hanging yet until like everything starts flying out, and then the camera moves.
That's kind of the spectacle of that game, is
and that's when they played with the like time.
Yeah.
In that game, whereas like it starts off halfway through the game.
Yeah, then it goes back.
And then it goes back, and they did that with like all of them after that, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, Tarantino'd it. Like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that one's definitely my favourite game. I think that's, like I said, the one where they more perfected the controls from the first one. Yeah. And like I said, the more backstory in that game, I suppose, as well.
Speaking of set pieces, fucking that actual train, the whole level.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and that even nowadays, even at today's standards, that's cool. It's like, how the fuck did they do that? It's like real time, isn't it? It's moving, and you're actually passing stuff, but you're also playing, and you never see the same place twice. Yeah. Not as far as I know, anyway.
When I played that for the first time, obviously it was a while after it came out. Still, that it didn't feel dated. As the last one. Yeah, it's really good.
And when the helicopters, like, when you're on the train and the helicopter shooting, you got to go around one end of the train, and you got to go back round, and then there's people trying to shoot you inside the train as well, with like those fucking annoying guards with the with the body armor and the shotguns or the miniguns, and you have to like shoot them in the head.
I'm not very good at games as it is, so
so that's frustrating. Yeah, I think the difficulty is a lot more balanced though in the second one, because in the first one the difficulty is fucking, like, in some of it it's like really hard, and obviously the controls don't make like they don't make it any easier for you, because the kind of hit detection's a bit off, but that's like, I find that's the same with all of them anyway. Like, you think you have a headshot, you're like, I definitely got a headshot, and like it doesn't shoot them in the head.
You can change it so it locks on better, can't you, when you're playing?
Now I don't think you could at the time when they came out. I think on the PlayStation 4 versions you can do that now. You can change the aiming around, and I think they even patched something into 3 Uncharted 3 with the aiming. So I think, but I don't think they ever had lock on until Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm really a fan of lock on aiming, to be honest.
I don't know, it makes the game easier. It depends what you're playing, like, as well, because like if you just want to get through the story, it just makes it that easier, doesn't it? It's just
I really liked Chloe in this game as well, and they first introduced Chloe, which was also making me excited for Lost Legacy. But I never thought that she'd be a returning character anyway, because I always thought of her as like, I remember when the game was coming out, and I didn't know if, like, when I saw like the first couple of trailers for it, and I didn't know, because Elena wasn't in the trailers at first.
I didn't.
Well, not as far as I remember anyway. I remember her not being in one of the trailers, one of the early ones, and I thought, oh, so they're doing the Bond thing where he has a new girl every game.
That could have been a good way to do it. But
I thought that they were going to do that, but then I was really glad when they brought Elena back anyway.
Yeah.
But
So it keeps that story going for all of it, doesn't it?
But I never thought that Chloe would be back anyway, though, because if you, at the end of that game, also, by the way, one of my favourite video game endings of all time, just because I think it ends perfectly. I think it's the best ending out of almost all of them. I mean, maybe 4 is slightly better. You know, when they're like talking about what's happened and Elena, and it's all improvised apparently.
Back and forth.
Yeah, the back and forth between him and Elena, and they're talking about on a scale of 1 to 10 how afraid were you that I was gonna die, and then Drake's like 5, wasn't it? Only 5? What's a 10? Clowns. I really hate clowns. But yeah, Chloe at the end of that, she kind of walks off into the sunset, and I thought she was going to be gone, but then I find it weird that in 3 they brought her back. Yeah. And I didn't. Also in 3, I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but I didn't think that she needed to even be in that game. When you actually play that game, you realise what I mean. But yeah, 2 is probably my favourite. I think is the most balanced out of all of them in terms of the platforming, you know, the climbing and stuff, and also the shooting.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, really, the gameplay in these games aren't amazing.
No, I mean, people sometimes. I mean,
it's fine.
A lot of people love Naughty Dog games, but nowadays, some people do criticize them for kind of supporting story and characters over the actual gameplay itself.
But I mean, with video games, they have that advantage of telling a more detailed story than a film, in the sense that you've got so much more time. Yeah. It's like, even with, say, The Last of Us, going on to Naughty Dog, they, obviously, the little conversations you have with Ellie in between gameplay, like, do you know what I mean, in between cutscenes, adds to the story. Yeah,
but then a lot of that's just walking around.
Yeah.
And it's not really, you're not really playing a game at that point. You're just kind of walking.
Yeah.
Which personally I don't mind, because I like story in my games. I like to know the backstories of these characters.
If I'm playing a game and the story is no good, the gameplay is good but the story is not, I probably won't finish it because I'm not that.
It depends what kind of, it really depends on what kind of game it is. Yeah. Because some games, like, the story does not matter. Like, I mean, I played fucking, like, Saints Row.
Yeah, I don't know a game like that, but I mean,
two shits about the story.
A game like GTA, you don't really need the story.
No, well, I like the story.
I know I do as well, but you'd probably still have played that game if the story wasn't that good.
I mean, I don't think we're even going to get a fucking story in the next GTA, probably because they seem to be focusing a lot more on online gameplay nowadays.
I don't blame them because of how well it's taken off.
No, well,
let's make a lot of money from it.
That was due to microtransactions. Yeah. Though. I don't think they were expecting it to make that much money.
Yeah.
People started putting, like, I know a guy at work, and he puts like 50 quid. Every week, like, into GTA to get like flying bikes and shit. So fair play to them, they're making their money. But I would really like some more stories, some more single player stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so two, I think Uncharted 2 is probably my favourite. I really like. I thought the only criticism I have story wise for that game is the lack of Sully.
Yeah, he in it.
I can't understand why he wasn't there. I can only assume that maybe the actor wasn't really available at the time of.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to bring up. That he's not really in that game that much.
Yeah.
He's in it at the beginning, isn't he?
Yeah, and he literally says, "I'm way too old for this," and he jumps into a river, and then we never see him again. He just goes. Drake goes off with Chloe and in search of Lazarevich, and then meets up with Elena, and then we don't see Sully until the end of the game.
Maybe he was, like you said, not available.
He must have been.
Maybe they rearranged the story. Maybe like Chloe may not have been as heavily involved in it at first until maybe they couldn't get the actor back and they rewrote things. You never know, do you?
What did you think of the twist in Uncharted 2? Because some people kind of don't like the twists in these games, and they feel they're a bit cheesy. But I've always liked them because they've always reminded me of like Indiana Jones, where he's like skeptical of that sort of stuff, and then at the end there's always some sort of supernatural thing.
Yeah, I like the supernatural in these games to an extent. Like, I was quite glad in the fourth one where it.
I was glad there wasn't in that one because I didn't think that the story called for it. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really want zombie pirates running around after you. It would have been cool still, but I didn't need it. I suppose you could argue you don't need it in the other Uncharted games, but I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I mean, one of the best video game moments I've ever had when playing a game is when you first enter Shambhala right at the end of Uncharted 2. Like, to the lost city, you open the doors, you get the doors open, and it's just this whole lost city. I thought was amazing, which I felt like, because they did that in 3 as well. Yeah. And it has a lot less impactful when you play it in 3, because it's like, I did this in the last game, because you don't do that in the first game. You just run around an island.
Yeah.
Then the second game, you find you're globetrotting around the globe, and then you find a lost city. And in the third one, they're like, we'll just do the same thing again.
Yeah.
I was like, well, really?
So I mean, yeah,
It was cool, but like I didn't get that wow moment from going in there.
Yeah.
So that's why I think 2 was my favorite, because it had enough new stuff in it.
Yeah, built on the
built
first
onto
game.
I mean, I suppose the first game's kind of like a skeleton for the second one.
Yeah.
And then the second one is like the full thing.
Yeah.
And but going on to 3, considering like we just talked about it anyway, 3 gets a bad rap as well, though, I think, because I think it does sort of feel like 2 separate games in a way, but I still think that the story's there and the gameplay's there. The gameplay is better than the gameplay in 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With the enhanced aiming now, because they've changed the aiming, haven't they? But yeah, I think a lot of people argue that in story-wise, the game kind of, you're with one set of characters, and then in the second half of the game, you're with another set of characters. And it feels like 2 separate games. It's really strange.
Yeah, I get
but that was actually due to, Charlie Cutter in that game, the character.
Oh yeah.
With the bald dude, Jason Statham type man.
Yeah.
He wasn't available. Like halfway through shooting, he was doing a sitcom or something. He booked a role or something.
So
and then he wasn't available. So he was gonna have a much bigger part. But then they had to say, all right, we better just write him out. So they made him break his leg, and he couldn't go on anymore.
Like I said, the story is fine in that game as well. It's better than the first story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to think. Is it the one? Because I should have really replayed them all before we talked about this. Is it the one with the? It's not really a mystical thing at the end.
Well, yeah, that's what always confused me in that game, because I know that they're definitely, as far as I know, it's not a supernatural thing.
Water,
yeah, the water was basically like they had a bad acid trip or something.
Yeah, so but when he's shooting people, so are these people not really there, or are they?
But
they're
that's
taking
the thing that
die?
doesn't make sense. I think that's where the video game-ish stuff comes into it. That's where the video game isn't kind of, the gameplay doesn't really mix with the story. Because you're shooting these guys and they take a lot of bullets to die, and like the Uncharted enemies take a lot of bullets to die anyway, and these take even more, and they're like on fire and shit, aren't they? Because he drinks that.
And I can understand.
But then
they say
he was just having a trip or whatever. So
but sorry, if he's still killing people at this point, he shouldn't be, unless he's not actually killing anyone. But
you can die.
Yeah.
So he is killing. He must be killing people, and they're trying to kill him. But it's strange. It just doesn't really make sense. But I suppose you just shouldn't think about it, because it's a video game at the end of the day. It's not a film. So.
Yeah.
But I do think the villain in that game. Oh, we didn't talk about the villains in the other ones either. I suppose in the first one, is there a villain? Oh, yeah, the first one, that villain's a bit shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I always liked Eddie Roger more than the actual villain.
Eddie.
You remember Eddie Roger? When did you last play these games?
It was a while ago. I should have really replayed.
I played him like a month ago.
Yeah, no, just before I played the fourth one.
So that wasn't that long
I've only
ago.
played them all once.
When did 4 come out? This year? Last year?
No, last year.
God, that
Played the fourth one twice. But I think it was because I was playing those ones in anticipation for this one. They left it a while, and then I think because the fourth one was the newest one, I probably just went back and played that one again.
Yeah.
But yeah. I remember bits of them all. I know enough that I enjoyed them all, I liked them all.
What I didn't like in 3 when it first came out was the... Can you remember there, about halfway through the game, before you get put on that ship?
Yeah.
You remember the big ship?
Yeah.
And Marla, I think that was her name, isn't it? Marla.
Yeah.
The main villain lady.
The old lady, yeah.
And she's saying, she reveals a lot of stuff about Drake and Drake's past, that his mother committed suicide, his father surrendered his son. They say son, but then in 4 you find out he actually has a brother.
Yeah.
To the state. So basically, he goes to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
And she's like, she says Drake, and she's like, but that's not your real name, is it? But we won't dwell on that. And I was like, what? Drake's not his real? So he's not a descendant of Sir Francis Drake, because that's what he implied. That's what he said he was in the first one. So they're ditching that, but then they never explained it again for the rest of that game. And I was glad that in 4 they did explain that eventually, which surprises me, not surprises me, but intrigues me, because Amy Hennig was supposed to write and direct the fourth game, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she was doing it.
She
So I wonder whether
left.
she was planning to explain that, because they weren't planning to do a 4 at first, I don't think, were they?
No, I don't think
Because they did they started doing Last of Us after 3.
They tried. I think they kind of ended it in a way, didn't they? And they could have ended and left it there.
Yeah.
It didn't matter too much if they didn't go back to the character.
I didn't like the ending either to 3. I didn't feel like it really rounded anything off.
No, but I mean, it's not a game where it felt like it ended and you needed another game after.
No.
I didn't feel anyway, and they could have just left it there. Went on with The Last of Us and made something else.
Yeah.
I'm glad they went back to it.
I was always hoping for an Uncharted 4, and everybody else was just assumed that they weren't going to make one.
Yeah.
And I always thought, well, no, surely at some point they're probably going to make an Uncharted 4, because they didn't really resolve a whole lot in 3, not really. And 4 does, like, it almost gives you a too big of a satisfying ending, because they round everything off, don't they? Almost.
But I think that's because they're probably not going. They're not going to go back to, if they do Uncharted again. It'll be the same as the Lost Legacy, where it's going to be new characters.
Yeah.
It won't go back to Nathan Drake. Maybe he mentioned.
Maybe eventually
he
might
have
explore.
A small cameo in it.
Maybe they might explore Sam.
Yeah.
His
that
brother.
could work, because he kind of goes off with Sully at the
Yeah,
end.
we could have adventures of Sully and Sam.
Yeah, that could work.
I'd probably play that.
And they left it with a daughter at the end. They could. If
Yeah,
they wanted
she
to
grows
touch
up.
on that.
Yeah.
There's possibilities for more Uncharted games.
Yeah.
But we don't need them to go back and explore Nathan Drake anymore, because
No, not really.
the story's kind of rounded off now.
Yeah, we know everything about him now because of 4.
I mean, like I said, if they did end up going into the stages where he has his daughter goes off and does stuff, he could have small cameo in it. He could be involved in some way or another where he's not really
he could be there but not on the adventure.
Yeah.
He could be sort of like Sully in 2.
Yeah.
Where he comes for a little bit and he's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm way too old for this.
Seems like he shouldn't do that if it's his daughter.
Yeah, true. He's like,
Just
you just run off into a fucking full-on firefight, and I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna jump in this river and swim.
But there's even there's other characters that maybe they could explore in it.
Charlie Cutter.
I
mean, I don't want to be him, but I would like to have another story with his. You could say it in like London and shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be in England
and,
all the way through.
What's the guy's name in the fourth one? The villain. Oh, he's they're in the prison all together, aren't they?
The guy who looks like Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, no.
He looks like him. The main.
Yeah,
dude.
the main dude. Yeah.
What the fuck is his name? I can't remember.
I can't think of his name now. But you could, because he obviously goes off and he's in search still for the lost treasure, and maybe
I don't want to be him.
No, but maybe there's.
He was a little spoiled, rich brat.
But maybe because there's a long gap in between that, because there's obviously those 3 games in between the fourth one. Maybe he's tried to get other people involved working for him who could play as you.
Maybe we play as that prison guard that helps.
Yeah,
that gets shanked at the end, or stabbed, or you get shot or stabbed. I can't remember.
But there's that big gap where maybe he could have tried to get, because he's obviously never stopped looking.
No, he just kept on.
Maybe he's got other people involved that you could maybe have like a side story involved. Maybe see him again at some point.
Yeah, that would be cool.
There's a lot of possibilities, I suppose.
4 was kind of expanded on what 3 did with it doubled down on the fucking character development. It almost, at the beginning of that game, it's almost a film, really, which comes into what people criticize Naughty Dog games for sometimes, whereas like it feels more like you're not really playing the game, you're just kind of walking around, you're pressing buttons when prompted to, and then watching the rest of it, which personally I don't mind, as long as at some point I do get to shoot everybody. But 4 is potentially my favourite.
I don't know, because I still think of 2 as, but
I love
both
2.
Good games. I mean, one thing we didn't mention on 3, I quite like the beginning bit of 3 with
when he's a kid.
Yeah, I thought that was quite good. And then they do that again in the fourth one.
They did that even more in this one, like, and
because it goes back some.
Because I do feel like in 4, because I've played 4 through all the way through twice now. I played it once on normal and then once on easy because I just wanted to play through it.
Yeah.
But that's a game that I've sort of changed my opinion on a little bit. over time.
Yeah.
At first I thought, yeah, this is amazing, this game is really good. And I still think it's really good, but I don't know if it's quite as good. I don't know if I'm quite as satisfied with it as I originally thought I was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just because I do think that I think Sam, when he, his long lost brother,
Yeah.
he does fit into the story very well in this game, but I feel like we spend a lot of time with him, more so like when we could be spending time with these characters that we really love for the last time, like Sully and Elena.
I think as well, I think he's just trying to make up for the fact that maybe that we don't know who he is.
Yeah, that is the reason.
Because he's never been mentioned before.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of it, but at the same time, this is the last Uncharted game you're giving us, and you're Sul is hardly there.
I can see why this is. I think like they're not totally trying to rule out the fact that they could make more games. And these are other characters that if you're into it, then they'll bring these characters back and you could play as them.
They left some like loose ends, so where like you could make more.
Because him and Sully kind of go off together at the end. You can do that, or even I know he kind of goes out of prison and goes to say Drake Stowaway, but you could kind of maybe if they made another game of a DLC where it's kind of in between the time he gets out of prison kind of thing and he's making his way back to where he meets Nathan.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't out for very long. Actually, he was out for longer than he said he was out, wasn't he?
Yeah, because
he lied, didn't he?
Yeah, so there could be that journey from him because he's obviously in a different country, so he's got to make his way back. There could be a story there. There may not be.
That prison break, set piece thing when he's when he tells him the story of how this drug dealer let him busted him out when in fact it turned out not to be true. Yeah. But that level in general though, that was fucking awesome to play. I love that.
Speaking before as well, where like spectacles in these games, I feel like there wasn't really that big of a spectacle in this game, but I think that's because the spectacle was that trailer that they released in the car. You got a big chase scene, and I think that was supposed to be your spectacle, but because you've seen the trailer and you've already watched it all play out, you kind of don't get the same feel when you're playing it through. That was
the problem. I think Naughty Dog do this a lot, whereas like they release way too much of their games before, like footage of their games before they actually come out. Rockstar do the complete opposite, and they like don't give you anything usually. Yeah. They only gave you something. The only time they've ever given you a gameplay video of one of their games is when they GTA 5 came out. Yeah. So they'll probably do that again this time, but it's not too much. You don't see too much of it. Yeah. You get just enough to know like what sort of game it is. And Naughty Dog, I wouldn't mind if they release some gameplay, but like set pieces, I like them to be a surprise. Yeah. Because I want to feel like this is like I'm on the edge of my seat, sort of. You know what I mean? And also story, they give so much of the story away in their trailers. Yeah. They show like whole 5-minute scenes, or like a cutscene that they've done. I don't need to see that. I'll watch it because it's there. I'm gonna click on it, but.
I suppose then again, that's like up to you then.
Yeah, that's why now I'm steering away from Lost Legacy stuff because I don't want to know anything.
I watched the first kind of trailer. Yeah. But I don't know too much going into it.
I wonder what the set pieces are going to be in this because this was originally going to be DLC. I think just DLC one. It was just an expansion, wasn't it? And now is.
I still don't think it's going to be a full game.
No, I've heard is longer than some of old Uncharted games, but not as long as 4.
Yeah, it won't be as long as.
So 4. It's going to be like.
So I mean, it's not going to be like The Last of Us DLC.
It's going to be longer than that.
That was what, like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, it's longer than that.
It's gonna. I think it'd be a good maybe 6-7. That's quite long.
Yeah, no, it's long for
but
DLC.
Games are a bit longer than that's long enough because to justify paying the money because it's about £30. That's.
Yeah, I mean that's only like £10 cheaper than. Actually, I don't know how much are games now. Like.
Games are about 50, aren't they? Now? They're expensive for what they are, I suppose. But,
well, a lot of work goes into making them.
I suppose, but they must make a lot of money from all of them.
I'm intrigued to see how. I mean, I suppose it'll be pretty much the same as the other Uncharted in terms of the gameplay.
Yeah, it'll be like the last one. Tell you what, I hope they cut down on because in 4 I did not like the sliding at all.
I didn't mind it, and then
it was just all of a sudden overused. I think that's what it was.
It actually isn't used as much as you remember because I replayed it recently, and it's actually overly used in one section. It's used constantly. Like every 5 minutes you have to slide. It's just sliding puzzles almost because you got to jump up a slope and it'll slide down to get to a certain ledge, and then you got to jump.
Like that.
But throughout the whole game in general, though, there isn't actually that much sliding. It's just you get to I think it's Scotland where Rafe Rafe is his name, the villain.
Rafe, yeah.
Rafe's like places where he's like he owns the land, doesn't he? And he's searching for the I don't know what there's some tomb or something.
It's a lot someone's treasure.
Yeah,
so
and then
it's the first one where it's not based as much on.
But when they're in Scotland, and they're obviously after the treasure, but they're looking for a tomb in order to get the next clue or whatever, and but there's so much sliding on that one like segment, but the rest of the game is actually like
that's that game's like least based about Sir Francis Drake than the others. There's always more to do with Sir Francis Drake in the first three than in this fourth.
The first one, the second one doesn't have anything to do with it.
You sure?
It's about Marco Polo.
Oh,
no.
Wait. But he's mentioned.
Marco Polo.
Sir Francis Drake is mentioned
not in the second one.
I'll replay it.
The third one he comes back. Because that was supposed to be the last one, I think. I do feel like when you're playing that game, it does feel like that's probably supposed to be the last one.
Yeah.
And they weren't planning to make any more. And they were going to be like, we're going to do The Last of Us, see how that goes, and make more.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get more Uncharted games. I would be surprised if they're to do with Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I think Nathan Drake's story is done now.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's nothing more to say about him. We know everything about him because in 4 they explained everything.
I think they're going to see how this one goes, and maybe they might use the same two characters. We don't know even how this DLC is going to end, so they might not be able to.
No, I mean maybe Chloe dies. Yeah. no more Chloe.
But I'm interested to see how these characters know each other because obviously, what's her name? She was introduced in 4.
This is some Chloe. What accent does she have?
I don't know.
Because when I first played the game, I thought when I first played 2, this was a long time ago though, when I first played it, I thought she had an English accent.
Yeah.
Then I played 3 and I was like, no, that's Australian. I think, or New Zealand, something like that. I don't know the intricate differences between those accents.
No.
And then, she wasn't in 4 actually, was she? But yeah, now in this, I'm not really sure. And also, I never knew that she was like from like, is it the Middle East? I'm not sure. Like that, I never knew she was sort of like Asian-ish. I never knew that it was her ethnicity. So very.
I'm hoping that because the story in this game, I'm hoping is good because we're not gonna get anything new. I feel from gameplay wise, it's gonna be Uncharted 4.
Yeah, it will.
But the story.
But apparently, there is more focus on stealth this time because I'm assuming because Chloe's not as like muscly. As strong as Drake.
Yeah. Then that fucking what's her name? Who she's with? So I take it you play between both characters. I take it you.
No, I don't think you do. I think it's just Chloe.
Oh, okay. Because
I would assume so.
She put up a good fight with Drake in the 4th one.
Yeah. I mean, you play if you play as Nadine, then you're just gonna be fucking Incredible Hulk. You're gonna beat
I feel like
everyone.
she may be involved as a gameplay character. I don't know because.
Well, I think she's just playing the role that Sam played in 4. Or that Sully played in 1, or Elena or whatever.
We play as Sam, not for a lot of the
When
game.
did we play as Sam?
Well, in the prison.
Yeah, but that's a flashback that didn't even actually happen.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think maybe it might. I mean, they might introduce that. I mean, they did it with Last of Us.
Yeah.
When we randomly, that was cool in Last of Us.
That was good. Yeah, that was.
Spoilers for Last of Us, by the way. But it's been out for fucking ages. You should have played it by now.
But I wonder what they're going to do with the new Last of Us in terms of gameplay. Because I know we're playing as Ellie, but I wonder if we play as Joel at first and not for a lot of it, but at the beginning. And
it's
then
possible
go into
they
Ellie,
might. I think Joel's biting it in this one.
Maybe back and forth. I reckon he's already dead.
I think maybe.
I know you get that trailer. I think he's dead.
I don't think that trailer though that came out. I don't think that's going to be in the game.
No, it won't be because it's like that one where
the original trailer for the first one.
But that's kind of in the game, but not that scene.
They go to that place, but they don't have that scene there.
No, but I think he's probably dead. But already.
Yeah.
If not, he will die. He should be dead already.
He should have been dead. Yeah. A metal pole went through his spine and out of his stomach, and he somehow lived because Ellie found the first aid kit in a helicopter.
We just have to. Yeah, I'll see how that game goes as well because I trust Naughty Dog. So.
Yeah, I always trust them. Well, yeah. I did trust them, and then things started going kind of weird at their studio before 4 came out.
Yeah.
Amy Hennig got let go.
Yeah,
someone else got let go.
There was probably a disagreement somewhere.
It was something to do with Uncharted. I have a feeling. I mean, I'm completely guessing, but I have a feeling that they wanted Neil Druckmann and I forget the other man's name who did who like directed Last of Us.
To have more involvement in 4.
I think they wanted more involvement because of the success of Last of Us, and they wanted to go in maybe a different direction. And Amy Hennig was like, "Nope, this is a pulp action adventure."
Yeah.
And I wanted it to stay as like a pulp action kind of fun adventure. And they were like, "Well, we want to make it darker. We want to explain some more stuff about the characters," and they did do that, and it worked really well. But I'm always curious as to what her Uncharted 4 was.
Yeah. Because I thought
because there was a different actor. You know, remember when the first trailer came out? It was just someone narrating it. He was saying, "Oh, you left me there to rot in that hellhole." He was saying, and it wasn't Sam's voice. It wasn't the guy who plays Sam, whose name I don't know. It was just some other guy, and that is not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
So it had a completely different story, I think, before, and they just completely revamped it.
Yeah. Which
is strange.
It worked out well in the end.
Yeah, it did.
And I'm hoping that her Star Wars game that she's making will be good.
Oh yeah, she's doing a Star Wars game, isn't she?
Yeah, but we don't know anything about that, and that's been in development for a while.
Yeah.
I thought they would have announced something more by now.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. I think.
Yeah, it will be good.
I heard it's open world as well.
Yeah. Well, I heard someone describe it as Uncharted, but in the Star Wars. I hope it's not too much like the same thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I hope it is like the same thing.
I don't mind playing similar type game.
Did you ever see the gameplay for that Star Wars game that never actually came about?
13,
yeah. I think it's basically that. I think that's what they're making, and I'm totally fucking on for that. I'll play that game. They're like set pieces like Uncharted has, but you're in like fucking Jedi world. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think her story's not going to have anything to do with Jedi. I think
it's gonna be that bounty hunter thing, like what that game was.
A bounty hunter thing. I don't think they may mention the Jedi. I don't think you'll ever see anyone wield a lightsaber in that game.
No.
I think
I think we'll see someone with.
I don't know. I think it'd be more grounded, and
you'll see someone with a lightsaber, but it won't be you.
Yeah.
It'll be someone you have to maybe either get away from or fight.
Because I'm all for that, but I do want to get a game eventually where I get to play as a Jedi, or I get to run around with a lightsaber and just
I want this. I want loads.
So much they can do with the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Which they don't do, which is strange.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't a Star Wars podcast. But yeah, Uncharted 4 is potentially my favourite Uncharted game.
I can see why it could be. The second one and the fourth one are the best.
Yeah, it's those two. It's out of those two. And I do really like 3 a lot more than a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think 3 is better than 1, but there's no bad games.
I like that there's no boss fight at the end of 3. Because I think that the Uncharted games are always weird because you'll play the game and it'll be a certain way all the way through, and then all of a sudden, right at the last minute,
because the boss fight
they'll change up the gameplay for you, like, and you've never done it before.
There's those fist fights in it, and the boss final fights.
It's like 4. Uncharted 1, you have to like get through. I suppose actually Uncharted 1 doesn't really change it up. It does change it up when you get to the zombie things.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden, instead of aiming and shooting, you're kind of running and gunning. Aren't you? You're free aiming. You're just running and shooting.
Yeah.
Instead of like taking cover, because you can't take cover because they run at you.
Yeah.
But in 2 they do the same thing. Whereas like at the end of the game, all of a sudden is a classic boss fight which you haven't had for the entire game, and you're running around this like lake of blue shit, and there's this crazy fucking, what is he, Russian?
Yeah.
This Russian man's chasing you, and he's like invincible, and you have to like shoot things and they explode in his face. But in 3 they don't have a boss fight.
Yeah.
Which is better. It was more refreshing and made a change, I think.
Yeah.
And in 4 they do the same thing again, whereas like I really like that sword fight at the end of 4.
Yeah, it's like it starts off as a fight.
But the only problem with it is basically a QuickTime event thing.
Yeah.
And my problem with QuickTime events is if you don't hit the button right, their intended effect don't actually affect you in that way, because it's supposed to make it feel more immersive, like a film.
Yeah.
But if you don't hit the button at the right time, you die, and if you die, then you're just constantly failing, and it's kind of not having the effect that it was supposed to originally give you. So it kind of it defeats the object. I don't understand why they do it, but that's why I don't like QuickTime events in general unless they're like really easy.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and they completely changed up the gameplay for that. It was kind of strange to me, but I did like the whole when they were talking in between, and Rafe. I really liked Rafe as a villain as well.
Yeah.
And I liked his whole jealousy thing. He's this rich kid who had everything on a plate for him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to prove himself, and all he keeps hearing all his life is Nathan Drake fucking discovered the lost city of Atlantis. Or not Atlantis, was it?
Yeah,
it was like
El Dorado.
El Dorado,
yeah.
Shambhala, fucking some massive desert town thing.
Yeah. Nathan Drake has done quite a lot. Where does Nathan Drake get his skill from? Like, is he? We don't know. He just killed.
I think he's just a serial killer. He just likes to kill. I reckon he goes out and just snipes people for practice for his adventures. Because he's no way that a normal person is that fucking. Even Indiana Jones doesn't really kill that many people when you actually watch those films. Like he usually misses with his gun unless there's like some ninja dude in front of him.
Yeah,
and manages to shoot him straight away.
Yeah, but that was quite cool. Like when they're doing like he's throwing the swords round and then he just like shoots him. Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones as well. That's why I love these games so much.
Yeah, they definitely are the kind of same thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't really need any Indiana Jones games. Like you don't really need any Uncharted films.
I still like an Indiana Jones game though.
Yeah.
Now that Uncharted's kind of gone.
Yeah.
I want an Indiana Jones game. And I want Harrison Ford to voice him. Actually, no, I don't want Harrison Ford to voice him because Harrison Ford doesn't really sound like Indiana Jones anymore.
What's going to happen with Indiana Jones now with Harrison Ford's coming back to do these films?
I really don't want to see a 70-odd-year-old.
I'm hoping that they kind of... I don't know, because they're going to... As Disney, they own... It's a franchise. They're probably going to want to reboot it in some sense. It wouldn't surprise me if they kind of went maybe... an old indie doing stuff, but then maybe it flashes back to young indie. That could be a way to go.
I don't want that.
But that's one way it could work.
Can we just not do any more Indiana Jones films? We had Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it was fucking terrible.
Disney bought this big company, and they're obviously going to want it. It cost them a lot of money to buy Lucas, so they're probably going to want to.
So they have to use Indiana Jones. They can't just do all the countless other Lucas. Well, I suppose there aren't countless ones, but
Star Wars.
they're milking the fuck out of Star Wars already. So I really don't want to see a 70-odd-year-old Indiana Jones running around with cracking his whip.
Yeah.
And like with his hip problems.
They already tried the sun thing, so don't do that again.
No, I really don't want to. I don't want to see Shia LaBeouf come back. Do it.
But if they make a film where they're going to mention Shia LaBeouf,
they have to. I reckon they should kill him off.
Just make a joke about it. Just say he's at school.
Yeah, or say, what son? He's just a bad dad, and he just doesn't see his son anymore.
Or he's fucking got dementia.
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the fucking...
He's just a film where he's in a homeless...
old OAP hospital.
Well, I was saying to someone at work yesterday, the other way you could maybe go with it, but it would be stupid, but you just go this over-the-top big fucking spectacle Indiana Jones film, and at the end he's just in a fucking nursing home.
It's just wearing his head.
And then you think the story didn't make sense, but then when it's at the end he's in a nursing home, you think, oh, it kind of makes sense, because he's fucking delusional now.
Yeah, he's just in a corner going, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones.
He's there with his whip going, just whip it in the corner, in his old nursing home. But yeah. Do you have a lot more to say on Uncharted? I should have been really speak about our thoughts on what the new game's going to be like as much.
Well, I think it's just going to be the same sort of gameplay as Uncharted 4, but apparently more stealth based as well. I don't know how much more stealth based it is, because I really don't want to be just...
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose what they mean is like hand-to-hand combat isn't going to be
the
same. But no one really does hand-to-hand shit in Uncharted anyway, because it is mostly just running a gun, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm hoping that the story is intriguing and is different, because I feel like these characters, you need someone that's going to keep you involved more, because you're more into the Nathan Drake story.
Yeah.
You want to be involved and really into the story.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm gripped all the way through the game, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be relatively long as well for something for what it was. Not DLC anymore.
Not anymore. But
Yeah,
I'm still going to class it as DLC, because
it's a weird thing.
It's a spin-off.
Yeah.
Then call it a spin-off. It's not an Uncharted.
I'm going to play it first before I decide what it is, because it could be, because I could play it. I think this game's fucking awesome. This is a full game. Because to me, you remember when the DLC came out for GTA 4? And it had Lost and Damned and the Battle of the Gaytone. Those are games. Yeah. I mean, there are some games that come out that... Because GTA 4 is like massively long anyway, the normal story. So those games were essentially like a normal game story.
Yeah.
So if this is their version, if this is Naughty Dog's version of like Lost and Damned, then I'm all for it. Like, this is... I think it'll be good.
We'll soon find out whether it's a type of thing where it's left open, though they could make games with these characters, or...
I mean, I obviously have to wait to play it first, but... if I do enjoy this game and I like playing as Chloe, I would like to see Chloe
come back, yeah,
as the new main character.
Yeah, it could work, and I think
and we could even do like prequels for her as well. Like
Yeah,
we don't need. We could see how she met Drake. And
Yeah.
that's another good way to bring Drake back. You don't
Yeah.
have to play as him. You could just be in a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Maybe you play in a couple of levels with him.
So I mean, if Drake comes back at all, he needs to be a support.
Yeah.
A support, not even support.
But he could easily be. Yeah, he could be. You don't play as him, but
Yeah.
he becomes your Sully basically.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I would definitely
yeah.
play that.
I don't know. I said there's so many possibilities.
Because he knows in 2, he knew Chloe before he met Chloe on that beach, you know,
Yeah.
because they just don't tell Flynn about it.
Yeah.
So, how many adventures have they gone on since? Like,
Yeah.
how long has he known her? Maybe he knew her before he met Elena.
Yeah.
But she just didn't go on that one adventure with him.
Well, yeah, because there's that gap in there where they didn't see each other.
Yeah. They didn't see each other for a year.
Yeah.
Because remember in the trailer, Elena's like, Elena Fisher, last year's model.
Yeah.
Like, she's making a joke, like saying, I'm last year's model and you're
Yeah.
the new one. But, like, maybe, I reckon that maybe Drake knew Chloe before he met Elena.
Yeah.
And maybe he's known her for a few years and they've done a few jobs together. I would play those games.
Yeah.
But this time as Chloe, and Drake's just a supporting character, and maybe Sully pops in every now and then as well.
Yeah.
And even Flynn, before he turned evil.
Yeah.
Because he was like jealous of
Like I say, I think they'll probably, if they're gonna go make more games, I don't think they'll probably stick it with the one characters. I think they'll probably bring in new characters.
Yeah.
But you never know. If these characters hit off, then that's just
originally though, I was like, I don't want any more Uncharted games after 4 because I thought 4 ended it perfectly. You know,
Yeah.
as a daughter and everything. And it all wraps up perfectly, and
Yeah.
they leave kind of little things where they could do something. But now, seeing that they've used Chloe, I never even thought of playing as Chloe before, and seeing as they've used her for this Lost Legacy stuff, if it goes well, then I'd really like to see other characters, maybe even like characters we already have met, but they're now the main characters, and Drake takes a kind of sideline.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. So I'm really interested to see how this one turns out.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to playing it. I won't get to play it straight away though because I'm going away next week, so I'm gonna play it when I get back.
Yeah, but well, it comes out just before you go away,
Yeah.
so you might be able to get a little go on it. But you might get a better experience if you start when you get back because you can just play it.
Yeah, I wonder whether we should blaze through it and do a review, or just play it and do first impressions video.
We could just see what happens when we start playing it. Because I mean, you're going away as well, so I may finish it before you get to finish it.
I'm only going away for 4 days.
Yeah.
You gonna play in 4 days? Then again, it is. I mean, it depends how long it is, I suppose.
I got through the 4th one quite quickly. I think it was like 3 or 4 days. It went long.
It took me a couple of weeks, but that's only because I didn't play it every day.
I suppose. Don't know. Sometimes.
By the way, we apologise for the audio in this video because you may be able to hear like a howling wind behind us.
Yeah, it's quite noisy outside.
Yeah, we're currently like between spaces. We need somewhere better to record.
Yeah,
so that's why the sound's a bit dodgy today. This is extremely windy.
It's not nice weather outside.
No. Well, it's alright. It's just windy. Welcome to Weathercast.
Blue skies tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
I don't know why I said hopefully. I'm not going anywhere. I've got no life. I'm going to be staying in, probably playing Uncharted.
Yeah, there's no need to play any of my studio before this one comes out.
No, I played 4 like a month ago or 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
So I don't need to replay that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. I think it'll be good.
Right.
And then hopefully, was it next Naughty Dog, Last of Us 2? And then I think they'll
very
probably...
much looking forward to that.
I think that'll definitely be obviously the next game that they bring out. But there'll be somewhat... If they're going to do a Last of Us 3... Because I read somewhere that there's actually a story planned out for the first one, the second
That wouldn't
and the
surprise
third,
me. Why not do a trilogy?
and it end at part 3.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine if they're definitely doing that, there will be a game in between part 2 and part 3. Which could be another Uncharted game, or could be somewhat new.
I think it'll be something new. I think they want to do something new now.
You know, this is like the first
Unless this does really well and people respond really well to it.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog do tend to be reactionary because they weren't going to do any Last of Us stuff. Well, according to them, they weren't.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, why? And then they did one. I personally was like, I don't want it. But then I thought, well, if they do it like this way, if they do it where we get to play as an older Ellie, then I'd be on for it.
Yeah.
And they did exactly that. I called it, so I'm taking credit for that.
Because this is like the Naughty Dog have been like usually. So you had like Crash Bandicoot, then it was the Jak and Daxter, then Uncharted, and then it went to Last of Us. Then it went back to Uncharted. That's like the first time they kind of gone back to somewhat. It usually kind of just ends. Because I know they were looking.
I think it's because people weren't like overly pleased with 3, even though the gameplay was absolutely fine in my opinion. Apart from the aiming was a bit dodgy in parts, but
because they did look into going back into Jak and Daxter, didn't they? But they wanted to try and do it. Really,
but I never understood that. It's like I suppose,
which would have been a reboot.
I always really wanted a Jak and Daxter 4. Like I always really wanted one, but when I really thought about it, do we really want Naughty Dog to regress and go back to making little cartoony platform games? Because we don't want a revamped Jak and Daxter, do we? We've established this. We don't want a new Jak and Daxter. We don't want it updated for modern times. We don't want a really gritty
a mini game rather than like a full length game. You could do something that's like a couple of hours long. Not a couple hours,
But they got to think of their financial gain from it. Like, are people really going to fucking buy that? And they will. But are enough people going to buy it to where it's like worth even like spending time on when they could be making The Last of Us 3?
Yeah,
definitely. You know what I mean? Or is it worth taking a whole team away from a big project? And I don't particularly want them to go back to like because as much as I loved old kind of PS2 era platform games, cartoony things, gaming's kind of changed since then, and Naughty Dog have massively changed since the first Uncharted came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like starting with that. And I think as a company it wouldn't really make sense for them to go back to making those kinds of games. Yeah. And also I don't know if I even want to see those types of games now. Yeah. Like I think you always remember them more fondly than you might enjoy them now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then again, I played the Jak and Daxter games fairly recently and I did enjoy them. But I think a lot of that is to do with nostalgia. Yeah. I played them so many times when I was a kid. And now I think it's definitely 50% of that at least is nostalgia.
Bad games,
they're still good. The gameplay is like
and graphics,
borderline perfect in those games.
I mean, the HD ones they write for the PS3, those games look like they
look great.
Made on
maybe
the first one.
They look like
a little bit.
They look like bad graphics, like PlayStation 3 games, but like
not even bad graphics.
No, because they're
cartoony. They probably helps it hold up more.
Yeah. Cartoony games do tend to hold up a lot more than like say fucking like GoldenEye does on N64, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or even stuff like games that were out right now. So San Andreas would have been right.
Yeah, it's because they went for these realistic looking graphics for the time.
Yeah.
But now they look pretty shitty. Even when they came out, I always thought they looked a bit shitty. You know what I mean? Those types of games.
But when you're playing it,
I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, I love GTA San Andreas. It's probably my favourite GTA.
Because you've gone through these consoles where everything's getting more realistic and everything. Yeah. When you go back to a game like that, everything's more clunky.
It does feel weird,
because your eyes kind of set, I suppose, to these new realistic graphics.
Yeah.
It just makes it look worse than probably.
And the movement's all off because they tried to, for the time, they tried to make the movement of the characters and the animations realistic looking. Whereas now they do have realistic looking animations, and it's like going back to that, you just look like a robot.
I wonder what. In like 10 years' time, if you went back and played Uncharted 4, what that would be like.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in 10 years' time though, it's going to be VR.
Yeah.
I think most games will be VR, and then you will have just like the retro thing still.
Yeah.
I think you know how nowadays 2D platform side scrollers are like retro.
Yeah.
And people make those now, but it's kind of like a lot of hipsters play them and shit nowadays. The new ones. I think in 10 years' time, when everything's VR, someone's going to make a game like Uncharted 4, and that's going to be retro. Uncharted 4 will be an indie game. It'll be strange. Whoops.
I don't think everything will go VR. I think they'll still make games like that.
I don't know. Maybe not in 10 years, but 20 years' time, I think everyone's going to be plugged into the Matrix. It's going to be Ready Player One.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... those were our thoughts on the Uncharted franchise.
More ramblings, I feel.
Yeah, we kind of been a bit off track, but but yeah, we hope you enjoyed it, and we will. I think we're gonna do a video about Lost Legacy. Whether it's a review or not, I don't know yet though.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what our schedules are like, as well as how quick we go through the game, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. remember to like, comment, subscribe. Also, there's this little bell. You press that, you get notifications.
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, go there, because I was waiting for someone to post a video. I can't remember who it was now, and I was like, they haven't posted for one. They had. I just hadn't clicked the little bell. So, guys,
don't click that bell. Actually, do, because we don't do that many videos, so we won't annoy you.
Yeah.
So you probably get like 1 or 2 beeps, 2 bells a week.
We'll try to do it weekly. Sometimes a bit awkward. Like obviously you're going away next week, so
yeah. I mean, it's a scheduling problem because we didn't get paid for this.
Yeah, so maybe,
and rightfully so, I think.
Maybe if you want to come back and do a Reddit review. But yeah,
I'm gonna do an Eminem concert review.
But yeah, next week we may not have anything up, but hopefully the week after we will.
Yeah, so we will see you next time. Well, not see you. You'll hear us next time. Whatever. Goodbye.
Bye.